Do you have a house here in Arizona that you think may be haunted? Well, here are 4 things you need to keep in mind should you decide to sell your house later on down the road. What was that? Let's talk haunted houses. Before you decide to sell a house that you think may be haunted, really make sure that the house is haunted. But you might say, Sarah, my lights flicker on and off, or my garage door opens all by itself and then closes all by itself. Well, let's step back and think about that. So flickering lights could be an indication of faulty electrical wiring and could be a potential fire hazard as well. So you might want to have that investigated by an electrician before you start saying it's a haunted house. Well, what about the garage door? My garage door opens and closes all by itself. Might be a sensor that's faulty and sensing something, because garage doors have a protection on them, so it might be a faulty sensor that's triggering it to open and close on its own. You definitely want to have anything that you think might be paranormal activity investigated before you say that yes, it is a ghost. Now, let's say you have the house inspected and everything turns out fine, then what? So what I would suggest, or what I have read that paranormal experts have suggested, is to keep a log or a diary of the events that happen around the house. What days it happens, when it happens, what's happening, and then you can determine whether or not it really is true paranormal activity. All right, tip number 2 when selling a house that you think might be haunted. Keep your mouth shut. Don't go around telling the whole entire neighborhood that your house is haunted. Here's the thing. If you sell your house and you tell the buyer specifically asks, do you have paranormal activity? And you say no, it's going to be very easy to prove in court that you're lying because you've went and told the whole entire neighborhood. Whereas if you keep your mouth shut and don't talk about all the experiences that you've had, then it will be very, very difficult for a buyer to prove in court that you knew or talked about or had any knowledge of paranormal activity prior to selling. So that's tip number 2, keep your mouth shut. Okay, 3rd tip when selling a house that you think might be haunted in Arizona. It actually might be a selling point depending on where you're living. I do know that there are some parts of the East Coast where a haunted house is desirable. And even here in Arizona, there's ghost towns or haunted areas that might be an allure to a buyer. Jerome, for instance, has lots of haunted hotels and places that you can actually do tours of haunted establishments. So I would talk to a real estate professional in the area and get their advice. Is it a positive or a pro to be considered a haunted house, or is it a negative? Definitely need to talk to a professional about that one. All right, so since we're talking Halloween and scary, let's talk about dead bodies. There are some states in the country where you are required to disclose if there has been a death or a suicide in a house. In the state of Arizona, you do not. It is not required that you disclose that someone has died or committed suicide in your house. That would be against the stigmatized property law. So here in Arizona, if someone has passed away in the house that you live in, you do not have to disclose that. All right, there you have it. 4 things to consider when you're selling a house here in Arizona that you think may be haunted. Thanks so much for watching today. If you don't mind, please hit that like and subscribe button. Every Wednesday, I'll be posting a new video about everything and anything related to real estate here in the state of Arizona. Thanks so much, guys.